Hi, my name is Sam Kitson, and today I'll be introducing the 3-day project that I will be, in turn, introducing to my students. I'm going to explain how I would introduce it to them. The first thing to understand is that I do teach at an independent study charter school, so the way that this will be introduced and the way that this will be run is different than you would at a traditional high school, mainly because we're not doing this in a whole class setting. I'm not going to have 25 students who are doing this. I might not even have 2. This has to be prepared in a way that it can be done individually or at the most in a small group setting. So most of the curriculum I write and prepare is geared towards the individual, not towards a class. So with that in mind, the first thing I would do is explain what the project is and just give the title for it. So what I would title it is the Profit School Edition, which essentially most of the students in my hospitality and tourism management course who have taken it, or just really students in general, they like Shark Tank, they like The Profit, they like those shows, they like to talk about them. And especially in my classes, I think it does have some merit because they are interesting shows where you get to watch businessmen, entrepreneurs discuss how they would work with other people, and you get to hear these people explain their business plans, proposals, things of that nature, which our students have to actually create in these courses. So we'll bring this up in our classes from time to time, but I've never actually used them as a project. And so for this one, we're essentially going to be modeling after what the profit is, which if you don't know, this would be our next one. Let me get this Google slide going here. My attention getter on that first day will be to show a clip of the actual profit. I'll just play that here. It's embedded into this Google slide. A couple seconds of it.
Tonight on The Profit, Key West Key Lime Pie Company, a pie company nationally recognized for their award-winning desserts, run by a temperamental owner who micromanages his selfless employees.
I call bull to that.
For anybody that does anything competent down in the Florida Keys, resources stretched thin at multiple locations.
Allow me to order it, even though there may or may not be enough money to pay for it.
Don't worry about that. Key West Key Lime Pie Company has failed to make a profit on $1.4 million in sales. If I can't get this owner to focus on his core business of pies, if we don't make it, we don't sell it. End of discussion. This business will crumble.
I really don't want to be filmed during this. I really don't.
My name is Marcus Lemonis.
All right, I'll pause it right there. So again, the job of my students is to be Marcus. They're going to get something very similar to what this company here, Key West Key Lime Pie, is coming to Marcus with, which is, hey, we have this should be successful business. We made $1.4 million in revenue. Why aren't we making money on that? And so what Marcus does, and the profit shows, if you haven't seen them, is he takes these businesses, he goes, he digs into them, he looks at their numbers, he looks at how they run things, he looks at their employees, he talks to everyone, and he finds out, where can we increase the margins? Where can we, help efficiency? Where's the fluff? What needs to be cut? What needs to be added? What needs to be changed to make this business that should be profitable, actually profitable? It's fun to watch. It's a show I enjoy watching. My wife and I watch this as well as Shark Tank a lot, and it seems to be something that our students like as well. So this is how I'm going to get them intrigued. Hey, this is one of your favorite shows. This is what our project is going to be on. You're going to get a restaurant with a profile that's not succeeding, that, perhaps in a year will be bankrupt if it's not fixed. You have to go in and they'll get all kinds of numbers. Let me get to the next slide. And again, this is the purpose of the project, is a failing restaurant has contacted you. They need help or they're going bankrupt. Are you up to the challenge? Here's this quote from Marcus. You can take somebody who has lost their way or who is struggling, and you can set them in a new direction. The real heart and soul of what we do here on the Profit is help people. That's what we're doing. That's what I want my kids to do. They're going to be a fixer. They're going to go in and figure out, based upon what they've learned in their own class, using strategies and skills that they've learned, to take this failing business and turn it profitable. So day one, they'll be given a profile of a failing restaurant. It'll include information such as daily receipts, budgeting, inventory, businesses, and hospitality practices. They'll get to see how the employees are trained, how they interact with customers. They'll have, in this profile, they'll have quotes from those different employees and customers upon their experience of it, very similar to what Marcus does on the Profit as he goes around and interviews. So they'll get to read these supposed interviews on a transcript and see, okay, based upon all of these things, customer complaints, suggestions, they'll get to see a big picture of what is going on with this business. Okay, and so day one, that's what they're doing, is they're just analyzing it. They're analyzing this information, everything that they've seen, from all of these different venues, both subjective, objective, numbers obviously very objective, but quotes very subjective, and they're going to dig into that, right? So, day two, based upon the analysis done that previous day, the student will develop an actual proposal outlining their plan to fix the restaurant. Again, they're going to use and implement strategies and techniques they've learned in their class. Okay, so this is the tough part. This is where they actually have to make a proposal, which they've been learning how to do. But this proposal isn't for their own business. It's to fix this failing business, right? It's to find out what they can do on every level to increase their margins, to increase efficiency, to help in certain areas that might be bloated, that might have fluff, that might have something that they don't need in there. And they're going to do everything they can. This is going to be difficult for a lot of my students because they're going in, without me telling them what the problem is. There is a problem. You got to figure out what it is. And then you got to take what that problem is and find out what the solution is to it. It gives them a lot of leeway. Again, this is project-based. They're not being told exactly what to do and how to do it. It's on them. And I'm there as a facilitator. I'm not the Marcus. I'm not going in telling them how we're going to do it, and they're coming alongside of me and doing it. I'm there to be the cameraman, basically. I'm there to sit there, observe, interject if they have questions if need be. But their job is to be Marcus, is to go in and take this failing business and turn it into a profitable one. So that's day one and day two. Day three is where this is going to be a surprise to my students. At least the first couple. After a couple of them, they'll learn that this is what we do. But for day three, they're going to then submit their proposal. And what they don't know is that our industry partner is actually going to evaluate this. And he's actually a chef who owns his own restaurant. He also helps out at the Art Institute in San Diego. He's going to do, or at least he has run his own restaurant in the past, and he now works at the Art Institute. But he'll evaluate this proposal, provide feedback based upon what he experienced, and if these things will actually work, then he's going to actually sit down with the student. Again, this can work because we do it on an individual basis. If we had to have our industry partner with a whole class of 25, he could do this and sit down. But I usually have 1 to 2 students every few months who take this course with me, and so we're able to have this one-on-one interaction with our industry partner, which I think is pretty cool. So he'll provide that feedback face-to-face and show them exactly how this would work and what he might have done instead. And then after that, the student will write a reflection based upon their conversation with the industry partner, what they learned from that, what they would change, and what they thought their strengths were, and why those were strengths. And after all that, they're going to be finished. So again, I think this will be a very relevant project for my students. I think it'll be intriguing and engaging for them. And I think it'll go really far in helping them to take everything they've learned and implementing them into an actual real-world problem. So that is my 3-day project.